Here on the outskirts of Ottawa, the capital of Canada, as we get set for the next leg in the Major League show jumping circuit. We are outdoors on the grass, and it is absolutely spectacular here. A balmy 27 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Fahrenheit for our friends south of the border. Moments away from the first competition of the week, the $1,000 meter 40 opener. 74 horse rider combinations slated to see. Competition specifications we're going to jump under is a two-phase. Horse rider combinations will do the first round fences 1 through 7. Any faults accrued, whether they be knockdown or time faults, and they will not move on to phase 2. Phase 2, 8 through 13, a further 7 jumping efforts. And the winner will be the cumulative faults based over the 2 rounds and time based on round 2. A slight breeze welcomes our first combination on course, and this is an ad to the original order go, Elena Haas from the United States. Elena is riding the 14-year-old mare Global Jativia. This first one set to test out this course designed by Canada's Michelle Vaillancourt.
Premier couple à nous rejoindre sur la piste. On débute tout cela avec les États-Unis, avec Elena Haas qui est au départ avec cette jument de sport belge, Global Jativa, produit de Carlento. Premier départ pour les États-Unis.
As we pick up the canter, and we'll follow around with Elena. See how this course rides. Time to start and away over the maple leaf upright. Balances up for the 5 strides down the first line. Roll back left here to the Brook Street plank. She got a little bit steady into that. She really forced her hand, having to add a step over the orange oxer, coming down to the final line in phase 1 over the RCB, but they rail down through the combination. And with that 4 faults, Elena will not move on into phase 2. From the United States, we come to the home nation and a rider that has been in rare form for a while now. Toronto's Sean Jobin. Sean aboard Sterhoff's Edinas. Sean has rocketed up the Longines World Rankings in recent times. Great results on the Major League Tour. Nicely balanced through that opening line. Riders really just finding their way out here today. Very much a setup for the remainder of the week. Very different riding on the grass from more recently on the artificial turf, the performance footing that we'd find in likes of Angelstone. Nicely done. So clear inside the time through phase 1. Oh, with a time fault, 43.47. 43 seconds is the time allowed. So 1 time fault, tone sounds, and Sean Jobin will not move on to phase 2.
Into the ring now, number 172, La Serra. Take 2 LLC into Rolls, Florida.
Back to the United States, Vanessa Hood gets the tone. Vanessa based in Wellington, Florida, aboard Estina. Excuse me, La Serra is Vanessa's ride. Been out of the sport for a couple of years, but making her way back in. It's keeping nice and balanced. Very important on the grass to keep the horse between hand and leg. Just taking a little bit of a spook there at the Brook Street upright. Had to put the leg on, squeeze across the oxa. Just a hair under pace, I think, as she makes the turn for home through phase 1. Jumping very well, nicely up over the RCMP oxa through the combination. And she makes it 42.59 on to phase 2. First one we've seen go. The Welsh Dragon, the skinny, fence number 8, gallop on down to 9. And then we make a left-hand turn to the next combination. Oxa coming in, upright. 4 strides. Coming out of that line, and now the turn for home. 2 fences to go. City of Ottawa Tourism, striped oxa out of the turn. And then right-handed to RBC to finish. This is going to give us our first look through the whole trip. And there we go, double clear, 41.02 for Vanessa and La Serra. And with that, in these very early stages, to the top of the leaderboard. On course now, we bring in United States Grant Seeger. Grant aboard Estina Van de Kappel. Grant hails from Aiken, South Carolina, out there on the East Coast. Some solid performances at the 2-star level through Tryon earlier this year. Spent quite a bit of time during the winter at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala. Estina, 9-year-old mare. Really just finding a way at this stage. 46.25 is their time. 4 time faults. All the rails up, but 4 on the clock for Grant. Move along to Western Canada. From Calgary, Vanessa Mannix. Vanessa aboard Valentino Delte. Aboard Valentino, finished 8th in the at Spruce Meadows in a recent 2-star meter 45 class. Valentino, 14-year-old gelding. Self-run-safe breeding. Super technique out over the CABANA coast, orange oxer. Time's looking good. Out through the combination. She will make it through into phase 2. Good ride, nice solid ride there through that line. And taking a right turn instead of a left and opting to retire through. She makes her way into phase 2. Feeling good, no sense in carrying on. Staying with the home nation, but coming very close to home from Canada, Ontario, just 2 stops down the 417 freeway. Home base of the Ottawa Senators from the NHL, Julia Wiggins. Julia aboard Linford AS. Linford, an 11-year-old gelding, Holsteiner bred. So far, so good as she makes her way left-handed to the Brook Street plank. Balances the 7 strides nicely, having to ride out a little bit. Got a little bit soft off the ground there, did Linford. Steady performances over the border in Quebec most recently. Rail down 7A. And that will put a stop to Julia and Linford. So far we've seen 6, and 1 combination is Double Clear and Vanessa Hood and La Serra. We welcome into the ring now from the United States, Lily Keenan. Lily really making a name for herself on Robert Ridland's team. Was a solid performer at the Nations Cup victory out in California earlier this year. Lily aboard Opium, J.W. van der Muevertin. Opium, 9-year-old stallion, Belgian bred, out of Canaan. Out of a Nabob de Rev mare. Definitely puts his stamp on his young stock. Really nice technique over the oxes. He's carrying a little gallop through. Nice rhythm and tempo. Very square. Just see how still she sits. Asks him to come back. Powers out. 42.87. Clear through phase 1. A wave of the hand, and that will be enough. Only thing really in play for the riders at this stage in this competition, they must complete phase 1 in order to have a qualifying score for the Grand Prix later in the week. Charlotte Jacobs now on her way to fence one. The tone sound. Charlotte from across the border south in Buffalo, New York. Charlotte aboard Thomas Court Ballypatrick, 8-year-old Irish gelding. A lot to see through that turn as a former Devil's Dyke and comes through in front of our commentary position through the bank. And unfortunately, just the one-time fault. 43.58 from Charlotte Jacobs. One-time fault will preclude them from moving on. 43 seconds, the time allowed in the first phase. 44 in phase number 2. Really not much to say. I'll bet next rider on course. From Canada, Tiffany Foster, a real stalwart on Ian Miller's Canadian team. Olympian, World Championship rider. Putting together a lovely string of horses. Owned by the Fife Roosters farm from Westlake Hills, Texas. Nindino, 8-year-old Oldenburg gelding by Nintendo. Just lands, holds his gallop. Slight little rub there, but clear nonetheless. Oh, time fault as well. Not always easy to hear the bell sometimes when you get into that focused mode, zone, flow, whatever you choose to call it. Lacey Gilbertson comes on course now. Lacey from the United States. Lacey is riding Arundel Duflo, 9-year-old Swedish bred mare. Popped up in deep to fence number 2. Got on the gallop early to close the distance for the 5 strides. Rode that very nicely. It can take a little bit to get around this field, and I just think seems early on, riders just get into grips with the pace. No problems with the time allowed and clear, and Lacey is moving into phase 2. We'll have to stretch a little bit out over the 6 strides there for fence number 9. balancing into 11AB, or 10AB rather, and on to 11, 4 strides out to 11. You really want to keep coming here, but Randall just balking a little through that final turn. Oh, it got a little bit tight, but she's up and over. 40.03 is the time, and with that we do have a new leader. Double clear, 40.03 for Lacey Gilbertson and Randall Duflo. Vanessa Hurd in second, double clear with 41.02. And Vanessa Mannix, retired in phase 2, but clear in a time of 41.88 in phase 1. Those are your top 3. Possibly the hardest working woman in show jumping, from Tottenham, Ontario. Just a brief 5-hour drive west of where we currently are, Erin Ballard. And Erin rides for the land further operation, and she is aboard Mollentine Shalom. So far, so good for this combination as they make their way around. Nicely balanced into the combination through there, through inside the time, and looks like Erin Ballard is opting out of phase 2. A circle as she decided to continue, and a rail down at the Dragon upright, the skinny. And now she pulls up. A couple of changes of plan, it looked like there, for Erin Ballard and Mollentine Shalom. Yeah, they will retire, and they'll leave on a score of 42.23 from phase 1. We go back to the United States now. From Ocala, Florida, making a home there is Chloe Reed. Chloe aboard Chelsea 179. Chelsea, the 8-year-old Oldenburg mare. A winner earlier this year in Ocala at the World Equestrian Center at the 3-star. Nice and smooth, 1 to 2, easy up on the 5 strides there. Chelsea does like to keep the pace. Chloe really does have to keep her bottled up, but when she finds those spots, she really does pop up in the air. Easily through the first phase inside the time, And Chloe tips her hat, waves to the ground jury, and that will offer up her retirement. From the United States, we bring in our first member of the Irish contingent, making his home in Wellington, Florida. However, this is Richie Maloney. Richie riding Equanimity LLC's Sherlock 46. Sherlock 46, 10-year-old gelding. Bavarian stud book. Wide turn there to the Brook Street plank. Got some loft, dangles a little bit, and Richie just asking him to stay going forward here. Looking very impressed. Lots to see here in the Grand Prix Arena at Wesley Clover Park's back rail, or the rail comes down with the back legs. 4 faults for Richie, time fault as well. So a total of 5. Currently in second place, Vanessa Hood. We bring her back in. This time she is aboard Lavalino to Klump. Easy going so far for Vanessa. Very quick in front. And a little bit of a sedate pace. This is an area where if you're looking to make that time allowed, I think you want to gallop a little more. She's going to be right on the cusp. Oh, just made it. Judge's tone sounds for the rail coming down at B. Tough break there for Vanessa and Lavalino.
Hello. Working? What do you mean working? Like today? I am working, but not in the hospital though. I'm working with horses at the moment. Oh, I'm working with horses right now. I'm working with horses. Yeah, I'm behind camera. No, I am behind the camera at the moment. There's a horse jumping event at the moment here in Ottawa. I'm filming it.
Back to Ireland we go, and one of the top riders in the world right now. And one of his best horses. This is Connor Swell and Count Me In. When this combination are singing, they are tough, tough, tough to beat.
Yeah, for sure. But you as well. It's actually raining at the moment. I mean, it's drizzling. Yeah.
numerous wins for this combination. Connor definitely looking like he's taking his time. Really dotting the I's and crossing the T's for later in the week. The Grand Prix really will be his focus. One time fault. Unfortunately, that will cost them. Well, now we go across the ocean and bring in from Denmark, Cecily Toft. Cecily aboard the 9-year-old mare, Ina van der Hel, Swedish bred. Van der Hel, Panama. Still just the 2 clear rounds, double clears through the 2 phases. Smoothly ridden there from Cecily, balancing nicely. Let's keep ticking over. Easy 6 strides coming into 7AB, and down comes the rail for B. Natalie Dean in now, representing the United States. Natalie is riding Oasis van der Buchstal, 9-year-old Belgian-bred mare. Nice tight turn there coming out of fence 3. Staying forward. Had a great experience earlier this year with Team USA at Aachen in Germany. Nicely through there, through phase 1, wave of a hand. And that will be enough for Natalie. And Sean Jobin in for his second ride, this time aboard Cuba Libre 5, 11-year-old grey mare out of the great Kornet Oblonsky. Been a real steady performer for Sean. To see how, as they come out of these lines where they have to move forward, just take a little moment to balance themselves. Make sure the horse has the grip. So easy on the grass to lose that. Sean feeling something. Not liking how it was all set up. Taking his time, getting in the line nicely. Unfortunately, the rail coming down. So that will be faults and time for Sean. Total of 24. Well, the once perfect conditions are now less than perfect as the rain starts to slowly fall. As we move along now to Stephanie Garrett. Stephanie is riding Ibera van der Hagen horse, 10-year-old chestnut mare. Well, this is where the conditions can change and change very quickly. A little bit of moisture on top of the grass. And what once was just a nice solid riding surface becomes a little slippier. Even more important to keep the horse in balance. But I have to say, the turf here at Wesley Clover Parks is a testament to the grounds team, as good as I've seen anywhere in the world. Oh, she got it all done coming in. Just got a little aggressive coming out over the combination. Punches out 7B. Time faults as well for a total of 7. From Boucherville, Quebec, we bring in Alexander Thibault. Alexandre is aboard Sedanos Z, 8-year-old bay gelding, Zangescheide bred. Alexandre, another rider who's spent not a short amount of time down south, which, in fairness, so do most of the Canadian riders during the winter. Fence number 2 coming down for the first time. That number 2, the Oxer, is 1.40 m high with a 1.36 m spread. .140, 145 wide, the RCMP Oxer. And a total of 5 faults for jumping and 1 time for Alexandre. Well, from a young rider finding their way, we go to the other end of the spectrum. A living legend in the sport of show jumping, from Cazenovia, New York, BZ Madden. We simply do not have time to run down the accolades of this woman in the sport of show jumping. We'll just sit and enjoy the round. And she is aboard Hummer Z, 9-year-old Dutch-bred gelding. Caught up with husband and coach John Madden a little bit earlier. Feeling very confident about the string that they're developing as she focuses on the future. Just inside the time. Looks like Hummer Z is just getting a little bit strong. Really had to ask him back after the combination through the end of phase 1 there. But carrying on. You love to have horses that are engaged, that want to go take on the jumps, but they've got to do it in a manner conducive to control. BZ Madden is clear through phase 2, 41.60, and into 3rd place. Well, we talked earlier about a rider in Sean Jobin who had skyrocketed up the Longines World Rankings with so many great performances in the Major League Tour. And here is another one. Kyle King. Kyle aboard Chess. Kyle been doing this a long time. So long, in fact, I rode against him. It's great to see him back at the pointy end of the sport on the 5-star tour. And I tell you, if you are managing a team on the major league circuit, he's somebody you want in your stable. He knows how to win. Chess, a 12-year-old gelding, Belgian bred by Bufaro Van Het Panishoff. Really just keeps his body still beautifully through the turn. Executed that. Oh, it's too bad. He executed the ride out of the combination very well. Chess just tucking his back legs in, not really finishing off the arc there for the Welsh Dragon skinny jump. Staying on the inside line, using the big stride for 7. Well, the time was excellent, 36.95. Didn't have to blaze around, but was a full 4 seconds faster than Lacey Gilbertson. However, a rail down and 4 faults, and that will put them into 4th place. Podium consists of Lacey Gilbertson in the lead, 40.03. Vanessa Hood in 2nd, and BZ Madden in 3rd. Erin Ballard back in now. Erin aboard the 9-year-old Holsteiner mare, Ginger-esque. Ginger, one of the up-and-coming young horses in the Landfurder's stable. Erin saying earlier when I caught up with her, now the couple of weeks she spent down this summer at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala really framed the summer for these horses. Felt like in 2 weeks they almost grew by 6 months. Showing a lot of composure there, and boy, did she jump out there nicely. 41.60 the time into phase 2. Easy up the 6 strides there. Fortunately, trailing the back leg. Maybe got there a little too easy. Seven or 8 strides coming home through that line. Stay on the inside. 7's not difficult at all. Really good time, 36.36. Fastest time in phase 2 we've seen, but 4 faults, and they will take over the 4th place position. Well, another rider making somewhat of a comeback into the top sport of show jumping. From the United States, this is Alison Robitaille. Alison has an incredible pedigree. Championship sport from Upperville, Virginia. Alison riding the gray 9-year-old mare, Chica Cara. Dutch bred. Got a nice result at the Grand Prix last week in Angelstone at the previous stop of MLSJ. Part of Team KPF for this season. Really great to see Alison back doing this. One of the really nice people out on the tour. Beautifully ridden. As soon as she came out over the double, you could see her eyes straight onto the skinny jump. Easily done. Just carrying a little bit of pace here. This is fantastic. Balance a little through this four. He'll get a little quick coming out of that combination. A little wide here to allow yourself to keep the pace. Opting for the ad, doing the 8. But no problems with going to the top. 37.43 for Alison and Chica Cara. 37.43. 2.5 seconds faster than Lacey Gilbertson, who has been our previous leader for quite a while. United States, 1, 2, and 3 as we sit here right now. Princess Bantahaika is an 8-year-old bay Belgian bred mare. Second ride for Ireland's Richie Maloney. Princess, owned by the Frog Pond Stables in Wellington. Kept his rhythm and tempo through the turn there nicely. Smooth as your friend in the sport of show jumping. Unfortunately, just a little too smooth. 43.27 for Richie, 27 hundredths of a second over the time allowed. Tough break there for the Irishman. Well, something you're used to seeing on the sand is a drag brake. Won't have a drag brake necessarily on the grass, but the warm-up ring is of the sand and fiber footing. So we're just going to give that a little bit of a touch-up. Keep the footing as even as possible for all the athletes. Crack team here at Wesley Clover Parks will fill the divots as we take a brief pause. We are back, and welcome back to Wesley Clover Parks and Major League Show Jumping Ottawa, day number 1, as we are into the 2-star meter 40 opener. Mia Bagnado on course, and she is aboard Essenar Crixus, 13-year-old FEI gelding. Ooh, just got a little bit funky off the ground there. Missed his step on takeoff. Down comes fence 3. Oh, nicely managed through the combination. 4 faults, 41.25 for Mia. Staying with the United States. From San Diego, California, this is Nicole Hownett. Nicole is aboard the 9-year-old chestnut stallion, Alutago PS. So far, so good for this combination. As they round the turn to the final line. Whoa, it got a little bit funky there. She's going to have to step up. She did. It's going to cost her, though. Won't make the time now. 43.45. That little bulk coming into the RCMP Oxa. You come from the other side. It is an imposing jump. And just big enough at 1.40 m by 1.45 m wide. U.S. team veteran Adrienne Sternlicht takes the tone. Adrienne aboard Casanio PS. 8-year-old Baymare. — 45 seconds counting down. Easy 9 strides there. Beautifully balanced up. Just staying with Casanio through the turn. Beautifully ridden through this line. Just going to make it. And on she goes to phase 2. Just extends the gallop a little through that far end. Showing lots of pop, lots of scope here. She's got a nice time going. Oh, tough break. Tourism Ottawa catches out Adrienne. And 39.44 would have been okay for second. Unfortunately, 4 faults. And down into 7th place.
Manager of Celtic Park LLC of India, Massachusetts. Rider from Ireland, Jordan Coyle, de d'Irlande.
Jordan Coyle from Ireland, making his home in Brewster, New York. And Jordan aboard Emerald Irish Cruise, 8-year-old bay mare.
On course. Reminder that at the end of this class, we do ask that the winner come back for a ride.
Flowing through that 7 strides very nicely out over Cabana Coast, Oxa. It's quite a different look when you come from the Brook Street Black Plank to that very bright orange jump. Balancing up through the combination for Jordan, and he's on to phase 2. Looking to go clear and faster. 37.43 to take the lead. This little mare looks like she likes to gallop along. Oh, and Jordan opting to jump the combination and circle away.
All good?
From Winston-Salem, North Carolina, back in for her second trip, Elena Haas. Elena is riding Claude. Claude is an 11-year-old Westphalian gelding by Captain Jack out of the mare Zobifi. Little tap out over 3. She makes the turn. Into the turn nicely and efficiently. Allowed her just to balance up for the plank. Just keeping a really nice open stride there. Saving some time. Makes the Oxer easy. Does potentially make this a little tighter as that came down. Really beautifully ridden, I thought. I think she just paid the price a little bit. She was saving time coming to the RCMP Oxa. And Claude just stayed on the gallop. Never really rocked back at 7A.
138 is in now. 138.
Move along now to California's Eve Jobs. Eve from Los Altos Hills, California, and she is aboard High Point VDL. Nicely balanced through there. Hear that word a lot, balance. so important. Part of the job of the course designer is almost to upset that rhythm and balance and tempo. Job as the rider is to keep it as consistent as you possibly can. Clear jumping, but 2 time faults for Eve Jobs and High Point. We come back home now to Toronto, Ontario, and Stephanie Gallucci. Stephanie is riding Calais 6-7. 14-year-old Bay Gelding. Westphalian bred. Dropped inside the turn nicely after fence 3, but just had to balance up for the plank. And just taking a time through this corner. Little stumble on landing, but got by with it. Jumped up really well out of B. Wave of a hand from Stephanie. And that is all we shall see of them today. Alison Robitaille still leading on Jikakara. Clear in phase 2. Double clear. 37.43 is their time. That is the target. Lacey Gilbertson from the United States in second. 40.03, and Vanessa Hurd in third aboard La Serra. You must be double clear faster than 41.02 to get onto the podium. From Toronto, we go just a little bit west to Guelph, Ontario. Kristen Hillier. Kristen riding Nancy Mulholland's quintessential WF, 11-year-old bay mare by Quintenda, out of Flower Song. Tap front and back with Quintessential. The front rail, Cabana Coast comes down. Four faults, 41.33. Well, so far, everybody finding their way through at least the first phase. Just waiting here now for the next combination on course. Third trip for Toronto's Sean Jobin. Sean riding this time for Antrim Equestrian. Akuga. Akuga is 12-year-old bay stallion. by the great Arco 3. Fantastic stallion of Nick Skelton's. Couple of good placings with Arcuga down in Tryon earlier this year. A little flat coming in, but no problem. Leaves the jumps up. Sean circling around, getting balanced and offering the hand to the ground jury as Sean retires Arcuga. "30 minutes or so west of here, you will find a little town called Perth, Ontario. Home base for Millarbrook Farms. And here we go, Amy Miller on course. Amy riding Don't Worry Farmer. Oh, tough break there for Amy. A little rattle on B, but it stays up. 7A comes down for Don't Worry Farmer, and that will preclude them from moving on to phase 2. Back to the United States we go now, and Isabel Cokes. Isabel aboard Enrique, 14-year-old bay gelding, Dutch bred. Well, he shot out over fence number 2, and Isabel had to bring Enrique back there. Did it well for 3. Back now into a good rhythm. Easy enough through the open end of the arena there on the way to the RCMP Oxer at fence 6. But she's clear. 41.81 is the time. She makes the turn and a wave of a hand, and that will be it. Next combination on course will mark the halfway point in this meter 40 opener. Brought to you by Cabana Coast. We welcome back in current leader, and this is Alison Robitaille. Alison aboard the Kent Farrington LLC owned Dany. Danny is a 9-year-old Bay Swedish-bred mare by the stallion Durant out of the mare Baluma Alona. Danny having a look around as makes her way to the first fence. And again, just looked like she got a little bit lost there. Front legs dangling down, down comes the front rail. She had to fight hard there, really locked the left hand down. Super Ride coming into that line, but unfortunately an early rail. And that will be it for Allison, and Danny still in the lead. Number 469, Balliol Skill Big Bucks, 10-year-old Irish-bred mare. And back in for a second trip, this is Mia Bagnato. Having to work a little harder than I'm sure she'd have liked through that turn, but got the job done. Climbed out over fence 5. Oh, she rode that very nicely, did Mia. Unfortunately, costly on the time. 4 time faults. Next in is Ashley Vogel from the USA. Ashley riding her own birdie, Duto. Showing very nice technique is Birdie. Uprights and oxes, very classic with the front legs. Nice and straight through the back. Well balanced there from Ashley. Oh my goodness me. 2/100ths of a second over the time allowed. And that was too bad. It really looked like her intent was to go and carry on. A couple of places, I think, to make up time or at least keep the time down. 3 to 4, you've really got to get out of 3 early. And then the long run from 5 around to 6. At an hour north of Toronto is Aurora, Ontario. That is the home base for Nicole Walker. Nicole riding Matonia of Colors. This is a black gelding, 11 years old, Belgian bred out of Elvis. Teputa out of the Otil of Colors mare. Just like that, she landed out over Cabana coast, picked up the gallop, and then settled back nicely. This will take a bit of work squeezing in the 6 for this big horse. Just needed a little extra room there, did Nicole. Executed the turn and the oxer beautifully, but really bore down on the upright. Adrienne Sterling back in now, and this time she is aboard the 9-year-old gelding, Clemens 72. Clemens by the great Chaco Blue out of Coraline. Really taking a time through these corners, just focusing on keeping balance. Rail coming down at 7A. 4 jumping faults, 20 on the clock for Adrienne and Clemens. And with that, we move back to Chloe Reed. Chloe riding her own and Live Oak Charlotta. Fence number 2 coming down, hefty rub there. And now it's got a little more organized. balancing. That was very well ridden. Good way to finish off. Fence number 2 coming down. And one more we will not see move on to phase 2. Back to Buffalo, New York, and Charlotte Jacobs. Charlotte aboard Extreme van de Ketwinnen. Charlotte, the 8-year-old Zangazida mare. Oh, clear inside the time for Charlotte and Extreme. They will make their way into phase 2, allowing the horse to open his stride through that corner. This will get a little tight, but she worked really hard to come back. 2 fences to go. She won't challenge the time, but maybe a podium possibility. Oh, and the last one, the RBC Oxa catches Charlotte Jacobs and Extreme. 4 faults, 42.02. 8th place at this stage. We move along now to Cecily Toft. Cecily, hailing from Denmark, making her base, as so many do, in Wellington, Florida. This time she is aboard the 11-year-old gelding, Curtis Korda. Curtis Korda is a Swedish-bred gelding by the stallion Odemus Cortina the Dam. Oh, back legs catching that front rail. Fence number 2. Sneaky careful is number 2. I think it's quite a bold jump to look at. The RCMP Oxa coming down as well. Back in for a 3rd trip. This is Elena Haas from North Carolina. This time Elena is aboard the 9-year-old mare Onemi Van Het Weisendorf. Belgian bred. Had a top 4 finish in Spruce Meadows earlier this year. The CSI 2-star. a second place at Traverse City. Earlier this month. We'll be looking for a very positive week, I would imagine. Working hard there just to keep Onemi focused. Pushing to come out, nicely done, and into phase 2. Really got onto the line early. Wow, super job. She's carrying a little bit of speed here. Not too much. This four stride gets tight, but she's got through it. And now just stay efficient through the line coming home. Opt in for the wider 8. Oh, lovely trip. And into the lead. 36.55 for Elena Haas and Onemi Van Het Wijnzoff. That pushes Alison Robitaille and Jika Kara into third. Lacey Gilbertson still hanging on to third place. Sorry, Alison Robitaille in second. Lacey Gilbertson into third. Move on now to Alessandra Volpi. Alessandra riding Appearance. Alessandra from Woodside, California. And Appearance is a 10-year-old Mecklenburg mare, excuse me. The sun just starts to threaten to come out again. The rain has left. My word, that was a expressionful jump there. Nicely done from Alessandra, but unfortunately just over the time. We move along now to Nicole Hounert once again. This time Nicole is riding Indigo van der Mugenhoek. Indigo is a 10-year-old gelding, Dutch bred. It's got a little bit fussy there between 2 and 3 and the rail coming down. Came in very hard to fence 7, proved costly at the upright. Made a really good effort coming out over B. 2 rails, 8 faults for Nicole and Indigo. Back to Ireland we go, and a Calgary-based rider, James Chalk. James riding the 10-year-old Chestnut Stallion. Howard du Seigneur. Owned by Ramsey Equestrian out of Victoria, BC. Well, that was a really nice ride and a great jump from Howard. James sitting very square. Time fault, 43.49. Top 3 as we sit here at this stage, Elena Haas on Enumi, 36.55. Alison Robitaille, G. Kakara, clear 37.43, and Lacey Gilbertson, clear 40.03. Back underway here on the beautiful grass at Wesley Clover Parks. And starting us back underway is Eve Jobs. Eve aboard a Valentino Tulier. Two time faults for Eve and Valentino. $50 have come through the gate. 24 left to see in this meter 40 opener. And we welcome back in Nicole Walker. Nicole from Aurora, Ontario. And this time she is aboard Panta JVH. Well, she's clear. Inside the time, on to phase two. Rectified the mistake from her earlier horse. Worked really hard down the line, 6 to 7. Panta really giving a good effort out here today. Nicole just asking him forward. Nothing crazy. Just a reminder, we're not done yet. Oh, lost the line, but 39.04 into third place at this stage of the competition. Just lost the line a little bit from 12 to 13. Panta may be losing sight of where he's supposed to go. But Nikki bringing him back online. Nicely done. .com Dautui is the ride of Natalie Dean. Into the turn nicely from Natalie, then just took a little bit of time to get us settled back, balanced. And she's through comfortably into phase 2. Wow, what an effort out over fence number 9. Staying balanced. Now keeping the gallop. Well, sees a great spot there. Opening up for the last fence. Oh, what a great time. 36.62 and clear into second place. Comfortable trip there from Natalie. Head on now to Palm Beach, Florida, and Mimi Gotchman. Mimi aboard the Gotchman Sport Horse Inclen BH. Inclen, the 8-year-old bay gelding. Took a time, got balanced around, but unfortunately that front rail of the RCMP oxer coming down. Move back along now to Denmark and Cecily Tuft. Cecily riding the Andrew Wells-owned horse, Dorchester. Dorchester, a 9-year-old chestnut mare. (7A) catching another victim. This time Cecily Toft and Dorchester. It's a little loose in the front there. Coming off the ground, and down comes the rail. Emmeline Adamic is on course now. Hailing from San Francisco, California. She is aboard Sediem de Saint-Anne. 11-year-old Sol Francais bred stallion. A Diamant de Semi out of Shining Star Semi. Number 3 catching another victim. Just stayed on the gallop there for the 5 strides. Never really came back and got up. Carly Campbell Cooper is set to go. Tone has sounded. And she is aboard the big jumping DSP Con Cartago. Never really got balance there coming out of fence 1. Got a little bit unfocused and took all she could do to get him back online. He's a big, strong horse. And 7A one more time. So a total of 10 faults for Carly and DSP Con Cartago. From right here in Ottawa, hometown girl, Olivia Bleber. Olivia is riding Mauna Lani. Twelve-year-old gelding. Rode that very nicely, nice and smooth, 1 to 2, easy through 3. She's just staying a little forward on the pace. Like to see her keep coming here. There she goes, nicely done. Now you got to balance back. Trust the scope here, then be patient. 7A will come soon enough. There, very good ride. Clear. Through phase 1 into phase 2. Found the gap she wanted, rode up at it, and again, same thing. Just keep flowing through the turn. Ooh, came in a little bit hot. Really be patient here. Very good ride. Now trust the gallop through the turn. 1 to go. Keep riding at it. At a goal. 38.59 for Olivia Bleber and into 4th place. Wow, what a nice way to start a 2-star week for this young Canadian girl. From right down the road here in Ottawa, we go to the other end of the country, onto Vancouver Island and Victoria, BC. We bring on Ali Ramsey. Ali riding South Shore Farms Koblenz. Koblenz is an 8-year-old chestnut mare by the stallion Arezzo. Ali on the comeback trail from an injury of her own. Saying a little bit earlier, she feels that she's about 90%. So far, so good. Oh, that's too bad. Just drifted a little bit on takeoff there. Tapped the front rail. Got by with it in front, but unfortunately the back legs finished off the job. Across the border down the Pacific Coast Highway to Menlo Park, California we go. And Zoe Brown. Zoe is aboard Karma Z. Zoe representing Australia. Karma, 10-year-old bay gelding. Right around 15 left to see in this Cabana Coast Meta 40 opener. Kicking off the CSI 2-star week. That will lead us into a great week of CSI 5-star jumping here in Major League Show Jumping Ottawa. Zoe opting for what we'd call the Cook's Tour out to fence number 3. Circling away from fence 5 will give her an initial 4 faults. Waiting to see here. And I think we assume that's retiring for Zoe Brown and Karma Z. Tradition would dictate that she would inform the officials of what's going on. Well, they don't come much more experience than this. From King City, Ontario, this is Matt Cohn. Mac riding Ogandros, the 8-year-old bay gelding, owned by Chadburn Holdings. Great to see Mac still firing away. Top international sport. knifing his way through this. Really keeping the pace moving forward is Mac. Oh, nicely ridden. Great ride for the young gelding. Matt Cohn into 4th place. 38.45 and clear. Celebrating his 71st birthday today, Matt Cohn. And what a way to do it. Doesn't look a day over 71. My Lady La Vista is in now. And this is the ride of Nicole Hownett. Nicole back once more. My Lady La Vista is a gray 9-year-old mare, Holstein breeding, by My Lord Cartago, out of Tina. Working hard there to keep 7A up. And opting to retire, having completed phase 1. Well, unfortunately, rail coming down there for Michaela Sancho on Marcus. Fence number 3. It's the 11-year-old Grey Stallion by Indoctro. Well, with around 10 to see, we welcome one of the top riders in the world representing Egypt, Nayal Nasser. Nayal riding ESI Ali. Oh, Niall nicely through phase 1. Just keeping the pace coming, moving forward. Wide-ish turn there, but oh, quality jump. Adding the extra stride in, 40.34 for Niall Nasser. Clear. And that will put them into the 8th spot. Back to Ireland we go now, and Paul O'Shea. Paul aboard Eye Candy Jumper's Dirty Girl. Staying positive through the turns, but now really balancing back, slowing down the pace. Well, the rail stayed up. There's a hefty whack. Clear inside the time, but it looks like Paul is opting not to continue. Back in for her second trip. This is Carly Campbell Cooper. Carly, this time aboard Berrettino PS. Oh, nice jump there from Carly and Berrettino. Really battling hard there through the combination. Oh, she worked so hard and maybe cost her a little bit of time. 9/100ths of a second over the 43 seconds. Well, just a few more to see. Representing Guatemala now, this is Luis Fernando Sainz Morel. And Luis is riding VDL Maverick. Maverick, 11-year-old chestnut, Belgian bred, out of the great Tinker's Boy. Oh my goodness me. Thought he was clear, but 43.10. 1/10 of a second. That's all it takes to keep you out. Well, looks like we've got right around 5 to see. First of those, Ali Ramsey back in from Victoria, British Columbia, aboard Call for More. Call for More is a 9-year-old gelding, Swedish bred by Baltimore, out of Callista M. Mentioned early that Ali on her way back from an injury. It really can take some time. If you get out for any length of time at all out of this sport, you lose your rhythm, you lose your tempo. And what at one time seemed to be just second nature, now is something you have to think about. Well, that was a very nice ride. That'll fill her with some confidence. Just inside the time allowed. Now she can set about it. Oh, it's too bad. Just threw a leg there at the front rail of fence number 9. Well, last rail coming down as well. Total of 8 faults, 39.57 for Ali and Call for More. We move along now to Isabel Cokes. Isabel back in aboard Fuego. Fuego is 13-year-old Dutch-bred gelding. Isabel really galloping along there. Through the corner on the way to the RCMP Oxa. Now she's got a balance back. Oh, she's got the room done nicely. Oh, it's pushed at it. Horse got a little flat off the ground, and down comes 7A. It's such a fine balance. Keep the pace coming, and you can get down onto 7A too quickly, or you get the gap done nicely, and then like Isabel did there, just push at it. You have to trust the scope and the carefulness of your horse in those situations. Bring on now from Seagrave, Ontario, Lauren Esdale. Lauren is riding Viamdios d'Avril, 14-year-old Cell Francais gelding. Keeping composed. Now just sit still for Lauren, and she's through. Got down there on the floor pretty quickly, but she's doing very well. 2 to go. Looking to break into the top places. Stay patient now on the 8. And she's through. Got it done. 36.80. 36.80 into 3rd place. What a ride from Lauren Esdale on Viamdios d'Avril. We bring on our final combination. From New York, Stephanie Garrett. Stephanie riding for Postage Stamp Farm, and she is aboard Darius de Kazeg, 12-year-old chestnut gelding, Zangasider breeding. You've got to be clear faster than 36.55 to take over the lead, currently held by Elena Haas. Oh, I just got a little bit rushed on takeoff. The rail comes down, and with that, the victory goes to Elena Haas. Elena aboard Enomi Van Het Weenshoff. Well, a solid performance there from Elena and Onemi. Clear 36.55, their trip in the Phase 2. Second place goes to Natalie Dean, .com d'Auteuil, 36.62. Third place, we just saw her go, Lauren Esdale, Viamdios d'Avril, 36.80. Top 3 separated by less than 0.3 of a second. Alison Robitaille in 4th on Jikakara. Matt Cohn, the great Canadian veteran, in 5th, celebrating his 71st birthday. Olivia Blaber in 6th, also for Canada. 7th goes to Canada's Nicole Walker. Lacey Gilbertson in 8th. She held the lead for quite a while. 9th goes to Nael Nasser from Egypt. And in 10th, Vanessa Hood from the United States. Well, that brings us to a close competition here today for the first day of international sport from Wesley Clover Parks. This is John Garner. Thank you for joining me and look forward to seeing you over the next few days as things get higher and faster. Take care.
Interrupting the national anthem and moving forwards. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little bit of a glitch up here with the end of the anthem, but we will invite the rider to have some fun and take a tour of the arena, give you a chance to celebrate with her on her this appropriate class with Wesley Clover Parks.
into this final fence.
We have a new leader